Pete? Well, as you can see, everybody is enjoying a little chew out here on their bones, and had a nice little play session in the yard. You know, after 4 weeks of boarding, it's been a 4-week straight stretch of like 5 dogs in the house, 6 dogs in the house all the time. So whew, we're on a 2-week boarding reprieve. My wife and I are going to take a couple of short little trips to some Ontario campgrounds. So yeah, it's just us and the dogs for the next 2 weeks, which is nice. I love boarding dogs. I love having all the dogs in, but I don't get to spend, obviously I can't spend the same amount of time with our dogs if we have boarded dogs in, because I have to spend some time with those boarded dogs too, right? So it's nice. And normally I don't have my e-collars on out here in the yard, but hey, when you're dealing with high-level resources like bones, you never know, right? I don't want Penny to take off all of a sudden because she gets through all the meat on her bone and decides she wants chickpeas bone. And Ollie, I mean, he originally came in. The whole reason he was brought to me in the first place and why I adopted him was because he has resource guarding. So I need the e-collar on him, because if I go over there and I need him to release that bully stick that he's enjoying, he might try and snap at me. So I got the e-collar on. Got to be safe. And be careful if you've got multiple dogs. Hey, maybe some dogs just don't care and they don't resource guard against each other, but you never know. You never know, so be careful. If you have multiple dogs, it might be a good idea to, in the beginning, have them have their resources across the room or something and keep an eye on things, or a leash on or something. You never know. Remember, at the end of the day, guys, these are animals. They're animals, and animals can be unpredictable. So I've been getting a lot of calls over the last months since reopening from the shutdown about people getting new dogs, puppies, and adopting rescues and things like that. And a lot of these issues that I'm getting called for could have been mitigated like the moment the dog came in the door. So I get it. A lot of you have these big hearts, which is wonderful. That's why you're taking in the dogs, and kudos to you. And you take the dog in and you go, oh, you've had such a rough life. Here's my house. Have total freedom now. You have run of everything because I want you to have the best life ever. And a lot of times that's going to come back to bite you in the butt, so to speak. So what I mean by that is, you know, even when we get dogs in for boarding, these are dogs that I help train, and they know me and I know the dogs somewhat, right? But when a dog comes in to stay with us, the dog's going to be very different from what they were at their home, because this is a new environment. A lot of dogs come in with what we call the deer in headlight syndrome. They're just kind of like, who are you guys? Is this my new home? Are you my new owners? What's the deal, right? So they're not the same as they will be in a few days or a few weeks or a few months if the dog stayed and lived with us. So they're going to be different in the beginning, okay? Sorry, switching up hands here before my arms get tired. So as soon as a new dog comes into our home, I treat it like a puppy. Like it doesn't know anything. Like it's going to pee and poop in my house. You know, I act as if it's never been crate trained, and I don't know what kind of behaviors it's going to exhibit. And it might be great at your house, but then you bring it to our house and it tries some shenanigans here because it's a new environment, or the stress leads to different behaviors that it doesn't normally do. So some advice to you guys. When a dog first comes to your home, you adopt this dog. Really what should happen, if you want to be sure you're successful, is more rules than you need in the beginning when the dog comes home, and then as you get to know the dog's personality and you introduce the rules and structure of your home, then you start to ease up on the rules as you see how the dog is handling the rules and if they're listening to you. So a couple things you could do. As soon as the dog comes in, I would put a nice little light drag leash, like something you'd put on like Ollie, like his kind of leash, real thin and light, something the dog will drag around in the home with their training collar on while I'm with them, okay? If the dog gets crated, then the leash comes off, collar comes off, they're in their crate. Why a leash in the house? Well, this gives me control over the dog. So if the dog jumps on my couch and I tell it to come off the couch, maybe it growls at me. which is exactly what happened when Ollie came in. But that's why Ollie came to us. We knew that was the problem. That way I can pick up the leash. Nope, come on. I can bring the dog off of the couch. So I have control. I don't have to reach in and grab the dog. I don't have to reach in and grab the collar. And by the way, if you grab the collar a bunch on a dog, the dog's gonna get weird about your hands. And you're gonna reach in to pet the dog one day and it's gonna like duck away from you because it's accustomed to your hand coming in and grabbing them. If you use a leash, the leash is sort of that in between. So now I can pick up the leash. The dog's not weird about me coming in. They don't think I'm gonna grab them or anything like that. So a leash on in the house will go a long way. Lots of rules and structure. Let's say you want your dog to be able to come up on the couch and cuddle with you. That's amazing. My dogs can come up on the couch and cuddle with me when invited. But I would say, you know, when your dog first comes home, sort of set some more stronger rules. No on the couch, no on the bed. This is our schedule. You go out at this time, you eat at this time, you have to go in your crate at this time, leash on in the house so I have control. And it sounds very strict. It is strict in the beginning. I'm trying to set this dog up for success. So if I put some structure, more structure than I need on in the beginning, and the dog gets used to that, at least I'm introducing them to the fact that there's some rules in my house that you have to follow, okay? And that I'll be your leader and I'll be guiding you through life and you have to listen to me. So until the dog comes around, now that could be day 1, that could be day 10, that could be day 30. Once the dog comes around, I see that they're listening to me, they're responding when I tell them to stop doing behaviors, they're listening to me, you know, all that kind of stuff, then they earn more freedom. Often you've seen when we have dogs playing in the yard, I have little drag lines, like 10-foot drag lines on the dogs. Now, if you've trained with me and you've trained your dog to recall, that means your dog got trained to listen to you. That doesn't mean it's necessarily going to listen to me. I mean, let's hope it knows the commands and listens when somebody gives it the command, but it may not work that way. So that's why we have the drag lines out on the dogs in the yard for the first couple days. If after a day or two I tell your dog, come on, we're going inside, and your dog follows me in and they're listening consistently, well then I'll remove that tool. So a lot of this stuff is just set up in the beginning so that I make sure that I'm setting the dog and myself up for success in our relationship, okay? So just some advice to you. When you bring your dog home, you'll get to the point where they get the house and they get the couch and they get to just be with you. But in the beginning, more rules and structure than you need, some fail-safes such as a leash on in the house, things like that, so that you have control when you need it. Okay, guys? It's just a little advice. Anyway, I'm going to hang out here in the yard and let my dogs enjoy their bones, and I'll see you in the next video.